talk about relations and functions. A relation is any set of ordered pairs. For example, given a set here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 ordered pairs in there. If I take that set and I put it in table format, I'm going to put all my x's and then all my y's here. Remember, from a coordinate point, your x comes first and then your y. So for the coordinate point 2, 3, my x is 2, my y is 3. Then I have -1 and 0, 3, -4, 4, 2. I can also graph it. 2, 3, remember x goes your right or left, your y is your up or down, right is positive, left is negative, up is positive, down is negative. So I have a +2 and a +3. So I'm going to go right 2, up 3, -1, 0. I'm going to go left 1 and then stay there. The next one, right 3, down 4, and then right 4, up 2. You can use what's called a vertical line test to see if it is a function or not, and we will talk about that. For mapping, my mapping got moved over. There we go. Mapping is basically giving the coordinate points directions. In other words, it says the 2, so your x's are going to go here, your y's are going to go here. Your 2 is going to be mapped to your 3, so it gives it directions. The 2 goes with the 3. -1 goes with 0. 3 has been paired with -4. 4 has been paired with 2. If you ever had one, let's say there was an additional 4, 5 on here. So I would tack on my 5. 4 would also go to 5. You do not write multiple numbers on there, one of each. So let's talk about if it's a function. So for it to be a function, you have your domain is your x values, your range is your y values. A relation in which no two ordered pairs have the same x value is considered a function. In other words, x does not repeat. So in this case, it is a function because you have a -2, 0, 1, and 2. There is no repeating. To give you a visual example, if you graph it, -2, -5, 0, -1, 1, 1, 2, 3. You can use the vertical line test, which means you want to take your pencil and have it vertical going across the page. It gives you a vertical line such as that, and you want to make sure each vertical line only crosses one point. If it has multiple points that were to cross through there, for example, if I had a point here and here, this would be not a function because it would have 2 points on one line. So let's look at mapping. So each x value is only mapped to one y value. So 2 goes with -5, 0 to -1, 1, 1, 2, 3. This is called one-to-one. So if I were to define what the domain was, I need to write my brackets, and I'm going to write all of my x values. And these need to be from least to greatest. So for example, -2, 0, 1, 2. Then I'm going to write my range, which is all my y values. Again, they need to be from least to greatest. -5, -1, 1, and 3. Let's prove if it's not a function. Okay, so it still has a domain and range. Your domain is still your x's, your range is still your y's. But it is a relation in which two ordered pairs have the same x value. So in other words, x repeats. Looking at a table, if I have 2, 0, 1, 2, because I have two x values, this is not a function. Let's look at that visually. I have 2, 0, 0, 5, 1, -1, and then 2, -3. So if you were to do the vertical line test, that passes, that passes. This does not pass because it has 2 points on the same vertical line. So this is not a function because of that. For mapping, notice 2 repeats. I only wrote it once in the mapping. So if I map 2 to 0, 0 to 5, 1 to -1, and then 2 also goes to -3. So you can tell, because there's multiple arrows that come off of this 2, that 2 repeats. Then if I need to define the domain and range, remember, domain is your x values, range is your y values, from least to greatest. Okay. Let's review graphing and ordered pairs. So in this case, it wants us to label on graph A. It wants us to label the x-axis, y-axis, quadrants, and then the number lines. You got to remember your magic C. So you always start in quadrant 1, and you need to write in Roman numerals. As you draw a C, it tells you the order you're going. So here's 2. I keep going to this quadrant. This makes it quadrant 3. And then I finish here in quadrant 4. Again, you need to be in Roman numerals. X-axis is always horizontal. Your y-axis is always vertical. And if I were to label a few of the points on the number line, this is the origin at 0, 0. This would be 1, 2, and 3. Where if I went left, it'd be -1, -2, -3. If I went up, positives 1, 2, and 3. If I went down, negatives 1, -2, and -3. Using graph B, it wants us to plot the following points. It says plot A at 3, -3. Remember, your x, you're going right and left. Right is positive, left is negative. The second value is going to be your y value. Goes up and down. Up is positive, down is negative. So positive 3, so it's going to go right 3. -3, so you're going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3 down. I want you to label this as A. 0, -2. So I'm going to stay where I'm at with 0, and then I'm going to go down 2. Label that as B. 5, 0, which means I'm going to go right 5. Then I'm going to stay still, plot it as C. The next one is -5, -4. So I'm going to go left 5, down 4. Plot that as D. Then for for E, I'm going to go right 4, down 4. And that's going to be in the 4th quadrant. Label that as E. And finally F, you're going to stay at the origin, and then you're going to go down 3. And that's going to be labeled as F. Now if you're going backwards and reading a point, or finding a point and then labeling it, you have point K, which is here. So starting from the origin, I'm going 1, 2, 3 units left, so that's a -3, and then up 1 unit, so it's a +1. So that's -3, +1. L, which is this point here. Starting at the origin, I go 1, 2, 3 units left, and 1, 2 units up. So it's -3, +2. For M, from the origin, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 units right, 1 unit up. So that's a +3, +1. Point P, it's up here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 units left, 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So that's -3, +4. Just a thought. You notice all your coordinate points here, you're going right and then you're going up. So that is going to be positive, positive. In quadrant 2, you're going left first, so that's negative, and then you're going up, so that's positive. Quadrant 3, you're going left, so that's negative, then you go down, so that's negative. Quadrant 4, you start going right, so that's positive, then you go down, that's negative. So you're able to identify which quadrant that you're going to be in based on purely the signs.